Today on DNVR Buffs Live, Rick George makes a strong statement about the future of Coach Prime in Colorado and lots more from today's press conference. Let's do it. Let's go.
Welcome into Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota Store. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. It's DNVR Buffs Live. Game week, we're back.
We are so back, baby.
Feels amazing, doesn't it?
Feels great. I spent a lot of yesterday scouting Kansas State. That felt great. We're up there in Boulder talking to Coach Prime today. That felt great. And Rick George, Buck Boley, and Dallin Hayden. And it's time. Time.
This is, it's the next game, but this is the biggest game since Coach has been hired?
Definitely. Yeah, I think unquestionably. Coach Prime's home opener, we almost forget, was against Nebraska, which was pretty special.
Right.
But that had, very different meaning. This is real football standings, reaching your goal type meaning.
Yep.
And I hope everyone's especially if you have tickets to the game, I hope you're turned up to that level. I don't know why. There's a little too much business as usual around here for me right now.
No, Folsom's going to be rowdy on Saturday, man. You're going to give everyone all day to tailgate, hang out, get hyped, and then 8:15 we kick off against Kansas State?
Yeah, and
come on.
I guess why I'm saying this is because I watched the Kansas State BYU game last night. Boy, they were turned in Provo, even though they're not really.
A lot of chocolate milk flowing, huh?
I gotta say, and I was realizing this, I was watching this. You want to know why their fans are so loud?
Because this is all they have.
No one cares about being cool.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're cutting to the stands. There's all these nerds. They're just screaming their faces off.
Yep.
No one's worried about acting cool. That's what I need. Guards down. Just acting a fool out there.
Lose your mind.
Don't care who sees you. Screaming your lungs out like your life depends on it. That's what I need to see this week. Because they had that place rocking. And Avery Johnson was shook.
He was. We'll get into Kansas State throughout this week. But we actually don't start with Coach Prime today. Because the man, Rick George, spoke.
Yes, sir.
Kind of out of nowhere. We thought, at least.
I think it was out of nowhere for him, too.
That's what he said walking in. But I thought we learned a lot from Rick George today. And let's just get right into it. If you saw the House pass some settlement, lots of stuff's going on. Revenue sharing models coming out for next year. A lot of talk about the CFP. This Super League thing pops up also. So here's Rick George on the new era of college football and what he's doing to better prepare Colorado for it.
Look, I think NIL is going to change, and I guess what I'd say first is we're really pleased at where the 54-30 has come and where it started. I think everybody knows we were a little behind in NIL to start because we really wanted to understand what this would look like. Collectives sprung up. We might have been a little late to the party, but through the work of Eric Belcher, who's one of our alumni, who's really spearheaded this effort in creating the 54-30 Foundation, has really put us at a point where we can compete with the other schools. That obviously will change with the House settlement. we will bring everything in-house at some point. And then, the student athletes that can earn NIL will still have that ability to go above the cap based on the settlement to create business partnerships like, Travis Hunter has with NerdWallet and Shilo Sanders with Nike. So I feel like we're in a good spot today. We probably weren't a couple years ago, but I feel like we're in a really good position, and I applaud Eric Belcher and the people around him that have put the 54-30 together, and we will continue to work with them until this new shift begins in July 1 of 25.
So a much more, I think, clear and confident answer from him than when we asked at Media Day, but it's still very much in flux, obviously.
It's all a mess, dude. You start talking about settlements and the house and all this stuff. I want to get as far away from that as possible. But in general, the point is that the schools are now going to be responsible for paying the players.
Yep.
And that's going to be one hell of a wrench in the gears of college football, which I feel like it's like, at the fair where you can like throw a ball to like knock the clown down into the thing. Like,
right.
Wrenches and gears have been just like that at college football.
Yeah, that's true.
The last 5 years straight, just wrenching the gear every 3 months.
Yeah. He's right, though. I mean, Colorado, when I got here in 22, there was nothing for NIL, nothing set up. And then just to see how it's grown in the last 2 years has been pretty remarkable, honestly.
I mean, just to give you guys a perspective, I won't name names. There were high-profile players on the roster in 2021 that the recruiting staff was reaching out to DNVR, being like, can you somehow set up some sort of NIL thing here to try and keep these guys around? And we tried, but none of them stayed.
Right.
But that's about as much NIL as we had. Mm-hmm. It was literally people just being like, hey, can you help as a business? Whereas now, they're running this thing like a real, their own business, which is what it is.
Yep. With that, you asked a great question just about the value of national TV games because, 6 straight weeks, most talked about football team in the country. Here's what AD Rick George had to say.
Well, look, I think it's significant not only for our department, but for the university, Boulder community, and in some ways the Front Range. When you have that much viewership on your program, it certainly means a lot. It lifts up all of our programs. And the fact that in the first time in our history, we've been on all 4 major networks and ESPN is significant. And I was here in the 90s, and I think CBS was really the only one that covered us every week back then, if my memory serves me correct. But the fact that we're on these major networks is really valuable to our department. It's valuable to our conference, and it's valuable to our community as well.
What'd you think about the answer you got?
I was just hoping for some actual numbers. Not Rick's fault. I maybe should have been more clear in my question. But it's true. The value, and we haven't talked about this yet, but 7 straight games on national television. Mm-hmm. Of course, all the people in my mentions from other teams are trying to act like that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a massive deal. I went back and looked at 2021, and I was actually, or 2022, I was actually surprised at how many games they had, but it was 4.
Yeah.
Now they're 7. They're going to be 7 for 7 going into the Arizona game. Almost guaranteed to be 8 for 8 going into what's that after that? Cincinnati.
How is every game not going to be on national TV this year?
The only thing someone mentioned potentially that there's one game is required to be on ESPN Plus or something.
Oh Lord!
If that's the case, then that would be the only one. But if not, yeah, then there's a very good chance at every game. It's what people don't understand, and I won't get too much on my soapbox here because this is a rant for before the Coach Prime era. But I used to just pound this drum over and over again. Athletics is the ultimate window into your university.
Yep.
This is how universities become cooler, become more attended, all of that stuff. Of course, yeah, you can have a great space program like Colorado does, or a great engineering program like Colorado does, and that plays in those very tight communities of those people. But what actually makes your university discoverable to just the average high school student who's figuring out where they want to go is sports.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that every single week Colorado is on national TV when 15 and 16-year-old kids are watching football with their friends, or even if they're not even a football fan, just it's just on the TV at their house, and they zoom out and it's Boulder and it's the Flatirons and you can see the beautiful campus and all the leaves are starting to change and all that. People are like, oh my God, where is that? I want to go there. I mean, the perfect example, I know I've mentioned this before on the show, but the perfect example is Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
Dunk City.
Yep.
They had the run, I think, to the Elite Eight. Maybe it was even the Final Four, but I think it was the Elite Eight in March Madness. And during the broadcast, they're like showing the dorms, which were literally just like hotels on the beach.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, their applications went up like 300%.
Yep.
For one reason, their sports team had a good run.
Right.
And so millions and millions and millions and millions of people are getting to see the University of Colorado, and that is going to create more applications. I mean, you can accept, you can be more picky about who you accept into the school. It automatically makes more money. I mean, even just the applications generate money for the university. All of that stuff raises all boats. And this has been a big point of contention between football and academics for years. And it's like, no, your football program being better serves the education part of the school.
Yep.
100%.
Exactly. I mean, look at Alabama. Once Nick Saban came in, started winning, that program or that university. But it also, I mean, the basketball program starts going crazy after that too. I mean, it's all interconnected.
Yep.
Next one is I asked Rick George, with everything going on, what are the plans for upgrades to Folsom and the event center?
I think we have to look at this holistically because we do know that we have some infrastructure needs that we have, particularly on the west side of our football stadium. The basketball arena hasn't been renovated for a number of years. There are certain things that we have to do, and that's why it's important for us to become a little broader in our approach on how we're going to generate revenue, because those are things that we have to do in the very near future to be able to be successful. And we do know, based on building this building, the Nerd Wallet Club, the Crawford Club, the premium seating areas have been really impactful for us. They're all sold out for the next 3 years. We don't have any premium inventory in basketball. We need to create some. And we need to create more premium inventory in our football stadium to be able to grow that revenue. So we'll be looking at all those things holistically as we look to what our future looks like.
So we didn't get a timeline or anything. What do you expect?
Oh, I don't know. Next 5 years. Some of this will be done.
Yeah.
I was thinking a lot about what he was saying about the premium seating for basketball, and it just makes so much sense.
It does. I mean, the pit at UNM, they took out a ton of the top level to put in suites and stuff for premium seating.
Yeah, I mean, you as a university are constantly leaning on your most wealthy fans.
Of course.
And those extremely wealthy fans are willing to pay for luxury, opulence, if you will. And because of that, you need to give them options. Courtside's cool. Personally, that's what I would prefer.
Yeah.
But if you're you want to dress all fancy and have some cocktails and just socialize during the game with your other rich friends, courtside's not the move.
Right.
If you had a box, you're probably much more likely to have attendance from those people. They're donating. They enjoy their experience there. So you have to tap into that. You have to give them more options. And then, of course, he alluded to this. I hadn't even really thought of it. Obviously, they're going to build a new press box. That's what we think about, even though I haven't been in the press box in probably 7 years. But you're also going to have an opportunity to build more premium seating over there. Right now, they have the Flatiron Club or something on that side. I mean, it's hardly club level what you expect these days, but back in the day, it was a cool thing. They even have suites, I think, on that side. I don't know what they use them for then, but when I was a kid, I remember going for a game in a suite on that side of the stadium. So you're going to be able to expand your offering there big time. For sure.
Rick has talked about this a lot, though. Obviously, the press box, the field house, the CU Event Center. There's a lot of things I think that could be better. He recognizes that, but you got to strike while the iron's hot too, right? While this is going on, this era of Colorado football, and the opportunities that Coach Prime has allowed this university to have at this point.
Yep. Wait, speaking of premium seating.
Oh, tell them.
You guys, when we were riding up to the last game, we're like, we should have some people come with us. So we have 6 seats available to ride with us from here at the DNVR bar to the tailgate on Saturday for the game. So if you guys want to come hang out and check out the bus and get to ride on it for real, we'll fire up a college football game and have some fun on the way up to Boulder for the game. You can do that. It's the same site as the tailgate. So if you're looking for tailgate tickets, we'll put the link out. It's already all over our socials, but you can secure yourself and one other person a seat on the bus with us.
Yeah, come check it out. Come hang out and experience the greatest vehicle in college football.
Exactly. And while we're selling things, Mo Cushing said, RK, I need that hoodie. Store.allcitynetwork.com.
That's the one I wear like all the time.
It's different, I guess, when I wear it, dude.
Crazy. All right, let's take a break, and then we'll get to the most important thing that Rick George said today. But first, shout out to our friends over at UC Health and the Ready, Set, Co Challenge, with Coach Prime as the Chief Motivation Officer, to get Colorado back to its rightful place as the healthiest state in the country. We're still focusing on sleep. Did you get your sleep on the bye week? Are you well rested?
I did all right. I think I did pretty good.
This is what the bye week's for, though, man.
I know, but college football is on until 1 a.m. on Saturday night.
You know what? I totally understand.
And I can't, I'm old now, so I can't sleep in past 8 a.m.
Well, if you're old like RK, you're not old like RK. We all still need our sleep. So get your sleep. Do yourself a favor. And if you want to join UC Health's Ready, Set, Co Challenge, click the link in the show notes or go to www.uchealth.org/readysetco.
Also, shout out to our friends at Empire Today, the ones responsible for the ground our feet is on as we speak. Not really the ground, but the floor our feet is on as we speak. They put this in. It's fantastic. I don't live in a house right now, but when I do, I'll definitely hit up Empire Today about my flooring. And when I do it, I will also be able to activate a $350 discount when using the promo code DNVR. So you can also get a free in-home estimate. They'll come check out your floor, say, damn, that's busted. No, I'm just kidding. But they'll say, hey, we can replace this for this much money. And we can even give you $350 off when you use the code DNVR. So go to empiretoday.com/DNVR for details.
All right. This was the last question I think Rick was asked today, but I think it was probably the biggest thing we learned from, maybe not learned, but just the biggest quote from Rick out of this press conference. He was asked about Coach Prime and the future of Colorado football.
Well, look, we hope that Coach Prime finishes his career here. I think he can do significant things for us long-term with longevity. And so, for us, and I think Coach would sit here and tell you that he and I are on the same page about where we want this program to go. It's not a short-term fix. We want to set it up to be sustainable for the future. And I think what he's done has been incredible. I like the culture that he's created. I see it on a daily basis with his student athletes and his coaches. And like I said, I like where we're at. We've got a lot to do still moving forward, and we're on the same page on that.
How'd you feel hearing that?
I felt great. I think that it's very clear that Colorado and Rick George want Coach Prime to be here. I think Coach Prime has made it pretty clear that he wants to be here. And I fully expect that something will be done soon, whether it's sometime late in this season or probably most likely in the offseason.
Yep. He's right, though. I mean, what Coach Prime is doing, he's already taken this program, this university, strides in 2 years.
Yes.
But it's about the future, too, even planning for after Prime. Like, of course they want Prime here for as long as he wants to coach here, but this program was in the dirt, man, and it needed help, and Coach Prime is helping lead that charge, along with Rick George, of course. But the changes they made in 2 years, I mean, it just makes you wonder, like, what could they do in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years?
100%. And I think, obviously I think one of the main negative recruiting tools that teams are using against Colorado right now is, why would you go to Colorado? Coach Prime's just going to leave when his sons do. If you were to sign an extension, if you were to offer Coach Prime an extension, he were to sign it, it would put a real throw some cold water on that tactic.
It would, and the receipts would be coming out for that one too.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to Coach Prime. He was awesome today.
Yeah, he was. In a groove.
He really was. Go check out all these press conferences on our YouTube channel. But first question, Coach Prime was asked about the redshirt situation and just what's unfolded over the bye week, really. So,
several guys, you got to understand it. I understand it, and I always want what's best for the kids. I really do. Like, that's their prerogative. But you know, it kind of puts us in a situation because now is there a question: are you redshirting for us, or are you redshirting for you? And it should be NCAA rules and guidelines that if you choose that particular course, not that our guys are, we should be able to allow you to go. Because if a guy is redshirting for himself and he don't plan on being here, why would you want him here and he don't plan on being here? That's really not fair to him. It's not fair to his teammates. It's a lot of unfairness, like the gentleman who chose the red shirt, the quarterback. So is it right that he's still practicing or with the team? Like, what course of action is that? Does he? I don't know. Does he? You guys tell me. Does he still practice?
He's not.
So you just let him walk away?
always on point. He's always on point.
100%. It's this to me is very interesting because it's funny the way this worked out, but right after we had this conversation with Coach Prime, I walked through the cafeteria to get to the restroom, and I saw a player who likely will not be here next year in line for food. And it's just such a weird thing that it's like, okay, well, this essentially what Coach Prime is saying. This player has essentially told you, I'm not going to help the team this year or ever again. Yet they're still, on scholarship at school. They're still, getting all of the benefits of being a student athlete. And it's an interesting situation. I don't know necessarily what the solution is. You obviously can't have a scenario where players can just transfer and be active at a new school immediately.
Right.
But maybe I don't know. Maybe you could transfer, like you can redshirt and transfer, but you can't be active until next year. But you can still go to your new school.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird, but I definitely it hit me even more clearly when I had that experience walking out. I was like, that is kind of weird.
It's very weird. I'd imagine it's awkward for the players, the teammates, coaches.
What are you supposed to do with their practice reps?
Exactly.
Are you supposed to give them reps? Are you supposed to just tell them
scout team?
Get dressed up and go stand over there?
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of these things that I think has to be figured out in the new era of college football too, because the transfer portal and all this stuff, I mean, there's been so many conversations about it, how broken it is, what needs to be fixed. But what Coach Prime said, if a player thinks it's best for him, why shouldn't we, it's mutual. Why shouldn't we be allowed to just let them go so they can do their thing? Maybe even just talk to other coaches. I don't know what the solution is. Like you said, it's not being able to enter the portal during the season so that they can just, find a new team and then start playing somewhere in 3 weeks.
You definitely can't do that. Yeah.
No. But I don't know if it's you let them at least be recruited during the season or what it is, but it's obviously broken right now.
Yeah. Bork says, guys, this is not a problem. I don't know how we can. It's definitely a problem.
Yeah. But UNLV's starting quarterback left when they were ranked top 25.
Yeah. And this didn't happen last year, right? At least not widespread.
This is pretty new. I mean, it has happened. I remember Owen in 2022.
Yeah.
He got hurt.
Yeah.
And we knew the team was bad, and Coach Sanford was already the interim head coach. We knew there was going to be a coaching change, new staff. But what Coach said back then, Coach Sanford was we're going to let Owen do his thing because obviously he's a young player and he's got all this time ahead of him, and this university is very much in flux right now. So, I don't know. It's kind of case by case, I guess.
Totally, yeah. And Bork says, If the university can benefit from the players and the players can benefit from the university, no, you don't give them practice reps. You just feed the kid and pay their tuition for the next months. But why not just allow them to go have that at their new school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not saying throw them on the streets.
Right.
I'm just saying there's got to be a solution as this becomes more widespread. By the way, I just remembered one. I think the first guy to do this was it? Oh no! Remember Clemson had the quarterback who was there before
Kelly Bryant.
Yes, and he got benched for Trevor Lawrence in like week 3.
Yeah,
I think, and then he was like, "All right, well," and I'm redshirting.
Yeah.
So it has been happening, but definitely not the way it's happening right now.
Right. No, this has all changed because of the portal rules.
Yeah.
100%. Like you said, it has happened before, and the portal did exist back then, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kelly Bryant had to apply for a hardship waiver or something to actually transfer.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, it's a lot going on right now. You had another great question for Coach Prime, just asking about, because we talked about this yesterday on the show, how the guys going out to Orlando early and how their film hours kind of correlated with that and the time they got to spend with each other. And you just asked about the impact that had on the team.
Most definitely. It's a moment that they definitely glean from. See, most people think you only learn from your losses, but you learn a lot from your wins. You learn a lot from successes. You don't just learn from when you're getting your butt kicked. I never seen a boxer get knocked out and say, I learned a lot from that, right? Like, that does not happen most of the time. And these young men they understand. I asked them a question this morning. If God were to give you what you desired in this game, what would it be? And what would you sacrifice for it? Great question. And their answer, the responses and all that I was trying to get them to understand that whatever you want in life, you're gonna have to sacrifice something. If you want a lot, you're gonna sacrifice a lot. It's not you sacrifice a little and you get a lot. It don't work like that. Life don't work like that. Life is pretty much consistent, tremendously. And football has no feelings or emotions for you. So what you put in, normally you get out.
Just preaching.
Absolutely. And it couldn't be more true. The thing, I'm always on my soapbox while watching film, but the thing that just I can't comprehend is if you are, again, won't name names, any player who isn't Travis Hunter, or Shilo Sanders for that matter, and you know that every week those two guys are at the top of the list in film hours.
Yep.
I mean, your interview with Travis's high school coach.
Yeah.
He talked about how Travis would have more film hours than the assistant coaches.
Yeah.
So if you know that Travis Hunter, the guy who is in most places second or first in the Heisman race right now, is watching the most film, and you want to be great, how in the world could you not match him or pass him?
It blows my mind that people don't follow that lead, honestly.
Yeah. It blows my mind as well. Not to say that these guys don't, but Travis should be getting passed every week by guys who want to be as good as Travis.
Or want to see the field. See this.
Yes.
Look, this guy plays 140 snaps a game, and this is how much film he's watching. I'm just here trying to get 15 snaps. Like,
right.
Kick up those film hours.
Yeah, everyone should be. So I asked Coach Prime that question more as like I hope that those guys realized as last week as they're just sitting with nothing to do and they're like, all right, I guess I'll watch more film.
Yep. And then look what happens. You go and beat the brakes off of UCF.
And you have to imagine that those guys sat there and realized, man, it was really beneficial that I knew what they were going to do before they did it. And so I'm hoping that these guys this week say, okay, no matter what, I get my school done, I'll take care of whatever I need to take care of, but I need to make time to hit however many hours I did last week, if not more.
Mm-hmm. But it's like you said, it's the guys like Travis, Shador, Cam. I mean, all these guys who are
Shilo.
Yeah, the leaders of this team, though. Nakai Hill-Green, Levante Bentley. Like, I'm sure those are all the guys leading in film hours for this team.
Yep.
So it's got to trickle down at some point. And when that starts to happen, that's when this program really starts to separate itself and become a championship caliber program.
100%.
All right, let's take our second break, and then we'll get to the rest of Coach's press conference. Shout out to Bet365. Never ordinary. I had a fantastic weekend on Bet365.
Hell yeah. Mine was a roller coaster weekend, but definitely more ups than downs.
Yep. We hit a few SGPs. We hit some moneyline parlays. I don't know if I had an early moneyline payout, but
I hit a 4-game parlay to start on the 10 a.m. slate of Saturday, which is such a great feeling. It's just like I'm invincible for the rest of the weekend now.
Were you?
Yes. I mean, like I said, I first of all, I took some of the winnings, cashed them out, which you can do easily at Bet365.
Yep. I did the same.
And then use the other half to just, mess around the rest of the weekend.
Exactly. So you can sign up now with the code DNVR365 and cash in on the bet and get offer. All you need to do is deposit $10 and then place a bet of $5 or more on anything. Once that bet clears, hits or misses, you'll get $200 in bonus bets deposited directly into your account. And someone told me too, other books offer similar deals like this, but they give you like 8 $25 bonus bets. At Bet365, they give you $200 basically. You could put all 200 on something, or you can do 200 $1 bets.
Like I said, one of our listeners tagged us and said they put all 200 on Buffs money line against UCF. Turned it into a G.
So get in on it. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Also, shout out to Jake's best friends, Westera Credit Union.
The homies.
They just launched their 90th anniversary CD that offers a 9% annual percentage yield. Yes, you heard that right. 9% APY on a 5-month certificate of deposit. You can start earning high interest on balances as low as $500 and as high as $3,000. Of course, it's insured by the NCUA. This will only be offered for a limited amount of time. So head to westeracu.com to learn more. Early withdrawal penalty applies. Fees could reduce earnings. Rates and accurate as of 9/1/2024. New money and in-branch offer only. Limited time offer. Subject to change without notice. Review membership account agreement, disclosures, and information guide for additional details. Membership eligibility required. Insured by NCUA.
Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Coach Prime was asked about Shilo and what the timeline is. Here's the answer.
He's ready. Shiloh's ready. He's practicing. He's full go. Has a rubber cast on. He's doing his thing. I can't wait to see him back there because he and Cam they're unbelievable together. Carter has done a wonderful job. Got a lot of experience, and he's in on some packages as well. But Shiloh's full go. We should have the entire starting defense this week.
I think this is the healthiest this team has been since before North Dakota State.
I think so too, and I mean that's usually true of after the bye week. And we were talking to a player today who was like, "Man, and we get another bye week in 3 weeks."
Yeah,
and I don't think that's something to just like brush off. To me, it reminds me of like if you were working out with a trainer and they were like 30 more seconds, and then you're gonna get a nice long break. You ever had that? Or like
of course.
100 more yards, and then you're gonna get a nice long break after that, and you're just like, all right, fine. Like, and you push it for those last 30 seconds, for those last 100 yards. I think that's kind of the way that this team can approach this. It's like, if I were on the coaching staff, I would be like, empty it out, empty the tank over 3. You have a 3-week burst here to just go as hard as you can, and then you're going to get another break to completely recharge your batteries again. Then we'll go into the final stretch of the season. It worked out really well the way the schedule came out, and like I like the way it's parceled. Kind of had that beginning stretch of the season, which had some, I guess, the biggest layups that you had on your schedule. Obviously, some tough games as well. You
Most
came out
emotional
of it,
games too.
Yeah, for sure. You came out of it 4-1. Now you have this little burst here against Kansas State, Arizona, and Cincinnati, which is like a little bit of a level up. It's tougher in-conference play teams, depending on how UCF turns out. And then you finish with like that home stretch. Like, you take care of business in these next 3 weeks, and you are 100% in the mix, going up against the teams that you're probably in the mix with to end the season.
I'd almost say this is the most important 3-game stretch of the season.
Yeah.
You get this. If you go 3-0 in this stretch, what CU would do is solidify themselves as a Big 12 contender by beating Kansas State and on the road at Arizona. You come back home for Cincy, and you get this bye week. All of a sudden, if you go 3-0 here, you were sitting at 7-1. You're bowl eligible. You're in the thick of the Big 12 title hunt. And you get this other bye week to whatever happens in this 3-game stretch to recover from and bounce back from. This could define the season.
100%. And this game specifically is against a team that wants what exactly you want, which is a trip to the Big 12 championship game and, eventually the Big 12 championship.
Yep.
They're arguably your toughest competition for it.
Probably.
And you got them at home off a bye week. Now, they're also off a bye week, which, by the way, back-to-back weeks of CU playing a team off a bye week, kind of lame. Anyways, this sets up really well for you. And you win this one, that is a launch pad game.
Exactly.
So this is exciting. What started that? Oh, the guys being healthy. We've only seen Cam and Shilo playing together in this defensive backfield for 2 quarters.
Not even, bro. Cam went out in play 3, and Shilo got hurt on the first drive against Nebraska, right?
I guess they've played in 2 different quarters together, but for a total of, I don't know, 10 plays, maybe?
Maybe 10 or 15 plays,
Yeah. I don't want to do, I'm not going to do the Shilo thing all week.
No, we're not doing it. But shout out to Carter, and Coach said it too, for what he did, and he's still going to have a role on this defense.
Absolutely, as he should. But I'm so excited to see those 2 play together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Cam Summan-Craig and Shilo Sanders is like a dream pairing in terms of college football safety pairing.
Yep.
It is rare to have 2 guys that experienced and that talented and that just nasty.
They've got that dog, man.
Yes. So I'm really, really excited, and I think that this was a good and important week to get Shilo back.
Definitely, man. 2 of the biggest leaders on this team. Cam is probably the best defensive player on the defense right now. And Shilo was the player who created the most turnovers for this team last year.
And led the team in tackles.
Yep.
There's people talking about missing tackles, this, that, and the other. He led the team in tackles.
Yep. Last thing from Coach today. He was asked about Dylan Edwards, obviously. This is going to be is it a revenge game for us? How would you define it?
I mean, if anyone wants revenge, it would be the Buffs. But I don't think it's like that. I will say, like...
That's what I'm saying. What do you call this?
I don't know what you call it. It's not revenge, but it's... You want to make him think that he made the wrong decision.
Sure. Here's Coach's answer.
They changed their name to Dylan Evers? That's what the team is called now, the Dylan Everses? We ain't playing against Dylan Evers. We playing against a darn good football team, man. Dylan just happened to be on their team. I love the young man. I love him to life. I really do. And everybody who leaves here in the right manner, as well as just leave, period, I want them to be successful. I have never wished wrongful or bad things on any young man or woman in my life or any of you all. I want you to be successful, and I want you to find your purpose. If you find your purpose and you understand what it is, you won't hate on me. You won't hate on your neighbor, your friend, or your family members. Dylan made a tremendous choice for he and his family, and I support that 100%. I just hate when guys make those decisions and they leave and they shoot back at us. If you going where you're going, you don't shoot back because you're so focused on where you're headed. You ain't got time to turn around and shoot back. So I thank him for not being that guy. And we had some great moments, and he's going to have many more great moments, so I'm proud of him. I just don't want him to perform well against us, but I want him to perform well against every other team. I really do.
I know the team's ready for this game.
Totally. And, like, again, you don't have to hate Dylan or be mad at him.
Of course.
To, as his former teammate, want to beat him.
Yeah.
And have a little bit of extra chip on your shoulder saying, all right, he thought he would have it better there than he had it here with us. Mm-hmm. No matter how much you love the kid as a person, as a competitor, you're going to feel a little something. And I know for sure that these guys do. Yeah. And so, yeah, there's a little extra juice there for sure. And I'll also say, speaking of being a competitor, mm-hmm. I just love Coach Prime today. He's asked about, who's a better athlete, you or Travis Hunter. And of course he gives Travis his flowers, but like, I don't think you could get Coach Prime to say anyone is a better athlete than me. Because that's just how he's wired.
Yeah.
He's not going to outwardly say that person is a better athlete than me, because the way that he is wired is that, and that's why you end up being the best, is by believing you're the best.
Yep.
So I love that, but I also loved I really like his metaphor about the boxing coach in the corner.
Yeah.
It was so on point. It's like, I've had my time. Now I'm just the boxing coach in the corner. Like, you could just see the movie of like he's in the corner and Travis comes in there. And it was perfect metaphor.
What about your favorite quote from today?
Oh yeah, he was asked, "Are you worried that the team will lose their momentum from the bye week?" And he said, "Faith and worry cannot live together. And I'm a man of faith, not a man of worry." And my God, that is
so good, man.
I told Jake afterwards, I said, put that on my grave. It's so perfect. So perfect. And honestly, that's how I try to approach things.
I don't know how to say it, but Coach Prime was just so ready for this press conference today, and he delivered.
Yeah, and he's obviously, well, sometimes you're talking about faith in like a religious aspect, but I don't even. And obviously, he's a huge man of God as well. But I even think that it can be applied to everything. It doesn't have to be a religious aspect of just like believing in things.
Right.
Like if you believe that you're going to be great, you don't have time to worry that you might not be great.
Right.
And worrying that you might not be great does not serve your goal of being great whatsoever. So you have to get rid of that.
Exactly. Dallin Hayden and Chidozie Nwankwo also spoke after practice today. Dallin said he's definitely close to back to 100%. Chidozie felt the same. He said, "I felt great to be back out with the boys. I was ready to get back and compete."
Chidozie, first of all, I asked Chidozie Nwankwo to share how to pronounce his name to everyone out there.
Yeah.
Not for me, because I learned that when we were down in the bar interviewing him, but for everyone else. I have heard some butcherings of that man's name during this season, and he's too good for people to be saying his name wrong. So also, fair cop out, just call him Block Bully if you don't want to say his name and risk mispronouncing it. But people have just been butchering it out there. So whether you're calling the game, doing a podcast, whatever, Chidozie Nwankwo. Chidozie Nwankwo. Please.
He also had great praise for Robert Livingston. He said it's different playing for him. He brings the energy every day. Having him around is exciting, and it makes you want to play for him. This team loves Robert Livingston.
Yes. Also, fun Block Bully anecdote. As he stands up from his seat to go into his press conference chair, I still you have to have seen this man in person to understand the stature.
He is big.
I've never seen someone built like him. So he stands up and he's got, arm braces on both arms. And just like the way that he's built, he kind of just stands like this. So he just gets out of this chair. One of the reporters behind me just audibly gasps. They're just like, whoa. I looked back and just started laughing because I was like, yep, that man honestly looks like he was engineered to stop the run.
Yep.
Just low center of gravity, so strong, so wide, commands double team, and is just so kind of his stature makes it easier for him to shed blocks and get through those gaps to make plays.
It's why he's so good as a run defender, man. I mean, he's going to get knocked for it. I can almost guarantee you this. As he's going through the draft process, all you're going to hear is, this guy was a menace against the run. He creates great natural leverage, but he's undersized. I guarantee you're going to hear that.
You will.
But yeah, all of the press conferences are on our YouTube channel. Check them out. This is going to be a big weekend for recruiting. And we talked about this guy before. He announced he was going on an OV to Colorado, but he announced it would be this weekend. Over the weekend, it's 2025 three-star defensive lineman and current UCF commit Christian Hudson.
Why? What happened?
We know exactly what happened. But we're expecting this to be a pretty big recruiting weekend.
Yeah.
And so just be patient. I'm sure the names are going to come as the week progresses, and could be notable.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some surprises, maybe.
Potentially. We'll see.
Okay.
That's about it for today. Do you have anything else to get to before we get to the Toyota chat and super chats?
Oh, Louise mentioned Block Bully being a wrestler, which was brought up in the presser. Can you imagine having to wrestle that person?
He had to have been a state champion.
I think he was 2-time state champion, which makes sense.
Yeah, totally. All right, let's take our final break, and then we'll get to the Toyota chat. And shout out our friends over at Breckenridge Brewery, the homies. They got a new beer, the new West Coast style IPA. It's called the Ridge Runner. It's a double dry hop brew inspired by the untamed beauty of Colorado's trails and creates notes of bright citrus and pine. Come hang out with us at the DNVR tailgate on Saturday or on Sunday. The Broncos are home again this weekend. So hang out with us in Boulder, hang out with us in Denver, or you can just come to the DNVR bar. We got Breckenridge Brewery on tap here. And you can find one wherever you are if you use the beer locator at breckbrew.com to find a brew near you.
Also, shout out to Chinook Seedery, always hooking us up with the best seeds. We're a little over a week away from our next voyage in the tour bus, which will be stocked up on our Chinook seeds for that.
Hell yeah.
Jake's all about the Parmesan pepper and the hatch chili. I'm all about the hatch chili and the barbecue. But everyone's got a different favorite, including the cinnamon toast.
Cinnamon toast, yep.
Cinnamon toast.
I saw Christian devouring a bag the other day.
There you go. So head over to ChinookSeedery.com. Use code BUFFS and find out which one is your favorite. You'll get 20% off.
What's up, chat? How's everyone doing today? Who is up first? Hit that like button. Also, where are we at on subs? Subscribe to the channel. Help us get to our goal of 100K.
Yes. Also, great point. We just dropped a DNVR Buffs specific Instagram feed.
Let's go.
So we're testing this out as a little bit of an experiment, and I think it's in everyone's interest for this experiment to work. So yeah, DNVR Buffs on Instagram. We're only at 92 followers. I mean, it was only this morning, but let's pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
Pump the numbers up.
Let's try and get to, I think 1,000 by the end of the week is a fair goal.
Absolutely.
So let's go for 1,000 followers on the new DNVR Buffs Instagram by the end of the week. Check it out. We're going to be posting tons of content there that you can't get anywhere else. So whether that's extra clips from this show, but more importantly, like behind the scenes of the Stampede, you know, some of the behind the scenes stuff that RG films when we're doing interviews, stuff like that. Check it out. DNVR Buffs on Instagram.
All right, get your questions in the chat now. Where are we going? What's up, Rob? Do you think that CU will incorporate a QB spy for K-State? I really have not seen them play much at all, but I'd love to see Chainsaw get a try at that job. His film spying quarterbacks is insane. Thanks.
Interesting. I don't know what their defensive game plan is going to be. I trust Robert Livingston to figure that part out. I'll just say this. You certainly cannot play straight man across the board without spying Avery Johnson, because if you have everyone turning their backs to him, you will get gashed. We'll talk more tomorrow from a scouting perspective, but I'll say this. Avery Johnson is legit fast.
He's a track star. Yeah.
Yes, like not just like he can get out of the pocket and run a little bit. He's by far the fastest quarterback they've faced this year. And maybe the one that you have to definitely the one that you have to focus on the most when it comes to as part of their game plan. I'll just say this was the first thing that I wrote down in my notes. I won't get too far into it, but he wants to keep it on zone reads, which is usually the opposite for quarterbacks. Usually the quarterback wants to hand it off, but he wants to keep it. So he's almost like your primary read on those plays. You're going to have to find a way to make him pay. And that's one other thing. I don't think he's faced a team that hits like this.
I don't think so.
And so you get him early and just let him know, like, hey, if you want to be running around all day, you're going to feel it.
I'm interested to see how Carter's used. I think he's someone who could potentially fill that role if that's the way Robert Livingston wants to go this weekend. So
Interesting. I like that.
I mean, we talked about it the whole time when Shilo was coming back. You know, again, we're not going to get into the whole debate of whether Shilo should and shouldn't be on the field, but
He should.
of course
End
he
of
should.
debate.
But with him back and with what you've seen from Carter, he's definitely earned a role, and Coach said that as well. But look at, you know, someone's got to fill that Trevor kind of role on the dime defense after he decided to redshirt. The whole point of that was to get more speed on the field while, you know, still kind of keeping a base front. You know, obviously you take off a backer, you put Trevor in, who's kind of a slash player. Not saying that Carter will be that, but that's a way to keep more speed on the field.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of different options, I think, to get Carter on the field. And you got to find a way because he's a playmaker.
Yep. Eric asked, do you believe there's any truth to the rumor that former USC and Georgia defensive line Bear Alexander has interest in Colorado? I have no idea.
I mean this with the most due respect. I do not care. Right now. Got a game this weekend. I have zero thoughts about transfer portal players for next year.
Yep. What's up, Jay? Could we beat Vandy? If yes, then we would. Oh, I can't see it. If yes, then we would win against Bama, right? Making us number one. Did we just become best friends? Vandy is. They're not the Vanderbilt of old.
No, they aren't. But yeah, I think Colorado could beat them if we're being serious about that question. This is an unreal year in college football. Everyone is gettable. Mm-hmm. It's not even I don't even think there's a team that's close to being ungettable. And so, not only are we getting our first ever 12-team playoff, which is electric in itself, we're gonna get some wild upsets in that 12-team playoff, which is awesome.
I'm sure.
And that's what the 12-team playoff needs, because if what happened was the 4 best teams just mowed through all of the other teams and then met in the Final Four, people would be like, what was the point of the 12-team playoff anyway? But if Boise comes in and beats someone or whoever, all that's going to happen is people are going to be like, expand it.
Definitely.
You know, this is great. And that's what I think that's the best for college football.
Yep. Girls Club asks, is there a DNVR account on Threads? I cannot go on that racist X app. I don't.
Not yet.
No.
There actually might be an account, but it's not active.
I've tried to give it a shot on Threads. I just balance in both. I'm just like, I can't keep spending more time on my phone.
Well, yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think I would be fully in support of it if everyone wanted to migrate over there.
Yes, for sure.
Or at least not everyone. A lot of people wanted to migrate over there. But it's hard to like post something on Threads and get like 3 likes on it or something.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you post it on Twitter. I'm not calling it X.
Yeah.
Ever. And it gets, 3,000 and you got all the interaction and all that stuff. So I have nothing against Threads. I hope it works. I hope something happens that causes everyone to decide to migrate over there.
David asks, any advice for the first game in Boulder? Restaurants, parking at the game.
Well, you can park at the DNVR tailgate, which is actually pretty sick if you're coming. So you can get your tailgate ticket along with a parking spot. I think we have like 25 available each game, so the earlier you get on that, the better. Other than that, it's kind of a weird stadium for parking. There's not a perfect answer for it. I know that you can buy day of parking over in the Wolf Law lot. Wolf Law lot? Wow, that's a mouthful. I don't know what it costs anymore, but it's kind of on the opposite side of campus. You can walk across campus. It's a pretty walk. There's other places like you can park over by the Taco Bell on Baseline, which is in that same area. That's what I used to do. Safeway down on Arapahoe and Folsom, you can park there. So unfortunately, our parking situation not great. But you just have to kind of figure it out.
If you figure it out, though, it's usually easy to get wherever you need to go out there.
For sure. And I mean, the walk from the DNVR tailgate really isn't bad.
No, it's 10, 15 minutes max.
Yep. And it's all along the creek path.
Yep, exactly. Michael asks, watching love from Johannesburg, South Africa. Love the show.
Crazy.
Keep up the great work. I love watching Heisman vids and how he interacts with the kids. How many future Buffs is he inspiring? That's a great point.
Such a great point. I loved. I don't know if we had a chance to talk about this because I think it came out on Friday. I can't remember. The clip of Travis talking about his neighbors.
Yeah.
And how before they leave for a road game, the neighbor kids come and put signs wishing him good luck in there. And then he'll sign stuff for them and play with the kids in the neighborhood.
Yep.
What a wholesome visual that was.
He's the best, man.
He truly is one of the top humans on earth.
He really is. He's incredible.
And then, of course, it ends with him saying, I'd love to play for the Broncos just to stay in Colorado because this community has been so great to me. Actually almost brought me to tears.
George Payton, please, if you're watching, make this happen.
And for me, it was less about him wanting to play for the Broncos, which is amazing, and more about him talking about how amazing the Colorado community has been to him and and his wife, and how we've embraced them was pretty cool to me. Yeah, and that was on Destroying's podcast.
Jesse asked, who's favored in CU versus Kansas State? I didn't check it today. Last I saw yesterday, it was Kansas State -4.5, though.
I can check it while you get the next one if you want.
All right. Well, RK's on that. What else do we got, Alyssa? Super chat from Laura. We're having badges/lanyards printed out for football parents so they can recognize each other, but also so fans will recognize and make them feel welcome. So if you see these badges at the game, please give them some love. Hell yeah, I love that. Shout out to Laura and what she does for the CU community.
Yes, for sure. She's always on the forefront of things like this.
She really is.
It is on Bet365 right now. Colorado +4.
So it's moved even more.
Yep.
I swear it was 6.5 last Thursday or Friday.
Was it out then?
I thought it was.
Okay, so I guess since both teams were on bye, they could do that. A lot of times they won't do that. Yeah, well, it definitely opened at 5.5 on like when they roll out the lines for next week on Saturday.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. It had been out earlier than that. It's continuously creeping down.
I'm trying to see if I can find a history on this line through one of my many apps. Let's see. So it did start. Colorado money line was +172 on 9:30. It's down to +150.
Okay.
Looking for the spread. Here we go. Spread started out, 6.5, going all the way back to August.
Oh, wow.
A week ago, it was 6.5. Yep. And now we're down to 4.
Great. I think that's I've always thought this should be a close line. It's closer to what I think it should be now.
Do you remember in the offseason when we did that graphic from the guy, like the college football Ken Palm guy?
Yes.
And he projected
Kelly Blue Book.
It was Kelly Ford. But he said that CU will play in the most one-possession games in the Big 12, and it was like 9.
Yeah. By the way, aside from the absolute beatdown of Nebraska last season, every home game under Coach Prime has been a one-score game.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably in for a dogfight this weekend.
Get ready.
I'm ready.
We did not talk about Project Rudy today. That's a...
Why we got to give it a corny name? Not Laura, but...
I don't know, man. I don't know who makes this stuff up. Apparently, it's like the Disney like came together with the 80s and stuff, and this is
Stop acting like you're doing a Navy SEAL mission.
Tell them. Baron with the super chat. Rick George spoke about the Pac-12 settlement and NIL. Can you guys explain that more? And who would have thought not playing Iowa State and BYU could matter this season? Definitely. Great point.
Great point.
Did he talk about the Pac-12 settlement?
I don't think so. I think it's yeah, I don't think he did. But the NIL is just that players are going to be paid by the teams now. It's a revenue share deal with 22% of revenue brought in by the athletic department will have to be shared with the student athletes. And there just haven't been a lot of rules that have rolled out about this. So what Rick George is saying is like, we need more information. We got a little more information recently, but we need to know like where Title IX comes into all of this and all of that. So we're very early on this.
Yeah, Rick talked about, I mean, even beyond NIL and talking about like the upgrades to, the infrastructure around campus and all that. He mentioned like we're going to need to do more concerts. We need more some of these like ad deals they worked out with NerdWallet where they've got kind of that like section in the stadium now. Mentioned the Crawford Club, stuff like that. So it's all about money, man.
Oh, yeah.
You got anything else?
I have nothing else.
We'll be back tomorrow. We'll have player press conferences. We get into K-State tomorrow, you think?
Wait, I do have one more thing.
Okay.
Got 20 seconds here-ish. Can you, like, you're just talking about Iowa State and BYU.
Yeah.
Just hearing those two names makes me realize how bad the Big 12 must want Colorado to make their championship game.
Absolutely.
Because if it's Iowa State, BYU in the championship, and obviously there's so much more football to be played, but let's just live in that world. That has no juice. With all due respect to those programs who are having a great year.
For sure.
You put Colorado versus Iowa State, Colorado versus BYU, Colorado versus anyone. All of a sudden, that is appointment viewing for the country.
Yep.
So like I said on Twitter the other night, after I had 6 Coors Lights and 4 tequilas, I just hope the Big 12 wants to take care of their breadwinner the way that the ACC is taking care of theirs in Miami.
Yes, definitely. We'll get into K-State tomorrow?
Let's do it. Can't wait.
All right,
I got one more game to watch tonight.
K-State. See you tomorrow. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.